Hi. My group and I conducted a survey and we asked students, how likely are you to return to the restaurant that you go to? And our results didn't surprise me at all. We actually saw that approximately 25% said that they would definitely return to a restaurant that they've been to if they liked it, if they liked the experience and things like that and the food. And 37% said the same thing for very likely and moderately likely. So basically, what we see here is individuals get comfortable with what they know in a marketing situation. So if they go to a restaurant and they have a good experience and they like the ambiance, the atmosphere of the restaurant, and also the food, then they're most likely going to keep returning to that restaurant because they're familiar with the menu. They know how it works there and things like that. And I know a personal example would be I never go to a different sushi restaurant. I personally always go to the same sushi restaurant because I know how they prepare their sushi, and I mean I like the way that they do it better than a lot of other places I've been to. So I keep going to that same restaurant because I'm familiar with the way the food is prepared.
So another question that we asked was, how likely are you to use Open Table for when you go to restaurants, or maybe even a new one, or even one that you always go to? And for me, it was really, really shocking that a little bit over 55% said that they're not likely to use it, and then another 33% said that they would use it. I would definitely be in that 33% just because I thought it would be a lot easier to make reservations on Open Table rather than calling in and sitting on the phone for about 10 minutes when it's so packed.
One of the questions on our survey was how likely are you to use Yelp to search for a restaurant? Surprisingly, some people, like 10% of them actually, said that they don't use Yelp at all. Me personally like to use Yelp when I search for a restaurant. 40% of the people said that they're very likely to use Yelp, and 20% they're extremely likely to use Yelp when they search for a restaurant.
All right, so we asked another question in our survey, and the question was, how many times do you eat out per week? Given the demographic for our survey, the ages tended to be around 21 to 29 years old. So the results weren't really that surprising. We saw a lot of the participants gravitating towards 5 to 6 times a week. Given a more fast-paced lifestyle with constant classes and things like that, maybe college students work and go to school. Preparing meals isn't really something that we have time for, and a lot of us, like myself, don't really know how to cook in general. So, we saw a lot of our participants, actually a huge majority, I think all except for 2 actually, go for 5 to 6 times per week or 3 to 4 times per week. So just kind of looking at the age group, it kind of is not that surprising.
Another question on our survey was, what is your favorite food? A lot of people like different food. So me personally like seafood. A lot of people like Greek food, Chinese food, Asian, and all kind Greek food, which is really good. I like Greek food too. Yeah. Question number 6 on our survey: do you like to dine out or cook at home? So surprisingly for me, half of the people said they like to dine out, and half of them said they like to cook at home. Personally, I like to cook at home because I think it's healthier food, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
So another question we asked was, what was your age? And roughly about 44% of people said that we were between the ages of 21 and 29. And it's pretty interesting because that's like the prime college student age. And because if you are older, of course, like my parents, they would rather just cook at home rather than going out. And if you're younger, it's like you don't really have that money to go out and dine every night, or even if it was twice a week.
All right, so another question that we had in our survey was, are you male or female? We asked this question to kind of get familiarized with the people taking our survey, so we kind of have a better feel for the demographic. And what we got back was out of 9 total participants, there was 6 participants which stated they were male and 3 participants were stated they were female. And I immediately thought that's kind of weird because here at Channel Islands, it's supposed to be 3 females to every 1 male. So considering that kind of statistic, I kind of questioned why there's so many males in the survey, but you know what? Females got stuff to do, I guess.
Our last question we have on our survey was how many people are currently living in your household, and roughly a lot of people said about 5 to 6 people per household, and I thought that was pretty interesting just because, I always thought like some college students would be just by themselves or just a roommate, but it pretty much opens your eyes to a point where if you have a bigger household that it'd be harder to go out because instead of paying for 1 or 2 people, you actually pay for 5 or 6 other people.